everyone, Solar J here. I'm excited for this one. Beatstep Pro meets Moog Grandmother. The Beatstep Pro has 8 gate outputs, 2 CV pitch, 2 velocity CV, and 2 more gates. Today we're going to use the velocity outputs of the green and the yellow sequencers and the gates of the drum sequencer, the purple one. Let's go! Very important. Before we start, we need to lower the voltage level of the velocity output to avoid sending too much voltage to the grandmother. The velocity outputs ranges from 0 to 10 volts on the Beatstep Pro, but the majority of the grandmother inputs follow a different standard and accept voltage between -5 and 5 volts. I did some research and it might not be a huge problem because the power supply of the grandmother is at 12 volts, so it should be able to handle signals within 12 volts. But on the long run, it might lead to wear and tear of certain electrical components, so better safe than sorry, right? Luckily, in the latest firmware of the Beatstep Pro, we can change the output velocity level in the MIDI control center like this. So install the MIDI control center, connect the Beatstep Pro to your computer, and you should see this. Go to Device Settings, and the settings you want to change is the velocity scaling. By default, is set to 10, which should mean 10 or 12 volts. Is not super clear in the manual. But if we put it to 4, we should be safe. So we put it to 4 for both sequencer 1 and sequencer 2, and done. We're good to go. Let's go and have some fun. Okay, let's start by taking the green sequencer velocity and plug it into the sync in. If you want to know more about how the sync in works, I made a video specifically on the topic. You can check it out somewhere here. Okay, now we need to send triggers to the sync in, right? That's how it works. So we're gonna add some steps here, and we're gonna add them in couple because we need to open the gate, and close it. So the first step, I'm gonna put it to the max, 127, and the second one, I'm gonna put it to 0. So let's see if this works. Now I'm modulating the cutoff frequency, so I should hear something every time the sequence hits this one. And you can see that it restarts. But let's try to add a bit more groove to this guy, right? So again, in couples, 4 is gonna be on the 7th, and this guy 0, 7 max, this 0, max 0, max 0, and let's unmute it. Yeah, it's already grooving. And let's see how it feels like in contact. Ah, yes. And the fun just started because we also have available an additional CV sequence from the yellow sequencer velocity. So let's try to use this other juicy voltage to connect the velocity to the attenuator, so we're gonna be able to dose the effect. We copy 3 times this signal with the utility, and we try first something standard like the cutoff frequency again. So here we can do the following. We fill the pattern with steps. We put them all to 0 by holding Shift and rotating the knob. And now we can, make a different groove with this guy and see where we get. They're both modulating the cutoff frequency in the end, right? So let's see what happens. Wow, nice. One cool thing of the Beatstep Pro in this case is that you can add swing, for instance, or even randomness. So that the pattern would never repeat in context. You can also play with the rates to have something even more groovy. Oh my god, I love these odd crooked grooves. Super cool. Another thing that I love to do is to use one of the CV voltages to modulate the hard sync frequency. So if we take another copy of this yellow velocity and we modulate the frequency of the oscillator with this pattern, it's gonna have a very nice sound. I love this one. Check it out. Nice. Wow, so groovy. So cool. I love my grandmother so much. Okay, let's go and see how to add the gate to the setup. Again, safety first, right? The problem now is that the gates of the Beatstep Pro are at 12 volt, while most of the input, as said before, are between -5 and 5 on the grandmother. And I want to use the gate for the sync in, so we will have another voltage to play around. So the voltage with mismatch can be solved with an attenuator cable, like this one here, where you have basically this slider that allows you to go from maximum to 0. If you don't have an attenuator cable, I'm gonna put a link in the description to this particular one. But if you don't have it, then you can sacrifice the attenuator and plug the drum out in the attenuator, even though this guy accepts plus and -8 volts and the gate is again at 12, at least the mismatch is lower than plugging directly into the sync in. So now we're going to use this attenuator and let's see how it works. We can remove this and use it somewhere else, which is great. And then we take the output of the first gate and we plug it into the sync in. So now we can go here. This is the track, and let's see if it works just by playing it. Every time I press, I'm basically restarting the LFO. If I put the slider to 0, nothing happens. So I'm gonna raise the slider until I hear the effect. So now it should be around 5 volts, right? So nice, we can even record this, you know? Maybe with some drums, so I don't go out of tempo. Nice. Now the yellow is also doing stuff. Wow, it's grooving. And now we also have this one, right? So we can put it or in the envelope. Maybe I'll put an attenuator also on this one, so we can close it. Or even in the pitch in of the oscillator one, so you can do this. Now we're not using it as a gate anymore, so we can just mess around with it. Another amazing thing is to use this voltage to control the rate of the LFO. So check this. Let's maybe make a new one, an easy one. So that is only until here. Put all to 0, and then we start maybe increasing it. Can adjust the rate until it grows. Yeah, oh my god, I love this. Wow! Another pretty cool thing of the drum sequencer is that you can shift it. So now dun 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 da da dun, but with the shift you can delay it or anticipate the trigger, which is pretty cool when in contact. So to conclude, this meeting was very fruitful, I think. Apart from the voltage mismatch, which is a bit annoying, but as you can see we can solve it, I think they work pretty nice together. Maybe this is not the best CV sequencer to work with the Moog. I've heard that actually the Beatstep Pro, it's more customizable, like you can change the voltage level of all the sequencers. Here you can only change the voltage level of the velocity, but still you have like 2 sequencers that you can use around, and at least for the Grandmother, it's not like a huge modular setup. It looks like it could be enough. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. It really helps my motivation to keep going making this content. And if you did subscribe, maybe share it with your musician friends. Thanks for watching. See you next time.